Bisexuals of Reddit, what are the differences between having sex with a male and a female? For me, the smell. I'm a very smell-attuned person. I once knew a friend was pregnant by smell alone, not 9 days into her pregnancy. The smell of sex is already very different from person to person, but the gulf is even wider between male and female pheromones and scents. So, it's honestly not very different for me. To be completely honest, I choose my romantic partners based on compatibility and spark. Some people just naturally have a spark, and it draws me to them. I've had wild aggressive times with women and sensual loving long-lasting times with men and vice versa. While it is slightly different based on genitalia, the real difference is personality and chemistry between the partners. I'm a man BTW, currently very happily with a man, and our sex is usually very passionate and can go on for hours. We aren't much into penetration though, just oral and body contact. Penetration is like once every few months kind of thing, and I usually top. With a male, it's harder to find the clitoris. You also have less time to find it. /thread good job, you too. Generally speaking, sex FF almost always contains oral. While it is not a rule, it does happen more often, may. Also, strap-on sex is different. BC the giver cannot actually feel the cock, and as such must rely on cues/body language to ensure their partner is being satisfied. Also, having no feeling in the strap-on means she can be totally 100 focused on her partner with no distractions, and also can fuck her longer and longer without worrying about ejaculation. So, yay, FF is awesome. However, all of those reasons are why MF sex is great. Because of the sharing of feeling and sensation. And oral can be done as often as partners like. And anyone can and should learn to read their partner's body language. So, for me, lesbian sex means you take turns focusing on the other person almost exclusively, while heterosex means you get to enjoy the sensations simultaneously or separately. And don't spout 69 at me, 69 sucks. Upvote for being correct about 69. I like 69 frown. For me it's mostly the intimacy level. The top/bottom and dom/sub roles, if they're present and it's not just casual wanna use each other to jerk off fucking, depends on the individual. Generally speaking though, kissing guys, I'm a guy BTW, has no appeal to me. With guys it's just fucking really. I can get really passionate and have romantic sex with women though. I think I was born straight, but I stopped caring about much of anything at one point. Shortly after I figured out anal is actually really fucking good, and we're all just a bunch of overpowered monkeys with cool stuff anyway. So now I fuck guys too. As long as they respect the shower and douche rule. No douche, no dick. End of story. Good for you. I've been attracted to a few women but I wouldn't call myself bi. I just think women are beautiful. And sex can be just sex for me. Sex with two women can go on for hours to an entire day if they wanted. Guys can't really do the all-day sex thing. Not that it's bad for being with both, and both types of sex are great, but generally it doesn't take as long for a woman to figure out what the other wants orally than it does for a man to figure it out and kinda change it up to often. Greater than guys can't really do the all-day sex thing. You haven't had sex with a guy who was on antidepressants, I'm guessing. No, I have not. I can only speak from my experiences, but I have had sex with a woman on antidepressants. And I'm talking like full-on sex. To me, I've had one experience where I went all the way with a guy that I was surprised I found myself crushing on, so I figured why not. It was an interesting experience to say the least. I won't really go into all the minute details of it. In a strange way, being with a guy who is more masculine is great, even though I'm also pretty masculine. He knows what he wants and he'll direct you. In my experience with women, they all have that fantasy of being a sub, and I'm naturally more submissive than dominant, so it's sometimes awkward. I haven't met a dominant woman yet. Honestly, it's difficult comparing the two. In my mind, it's like asking how similar are apples and oranges. Each apple and orange is different. On a day-to-day basis, I lean more towards women. But, I still do have that one guy type that I am attracted to. My female partners and I tend to trade off who's pleasing who in the moment because we generally can all have multiple orgasms and the urge to just fuck for the lack of better words isn't there. With my male partners it tends to stay a lot more mutual. I've never had sex with anyone, so this is just a really fun post to read the comments on. 1. Sex is generally shorter with men. Men are generally less into going down on you, although surprisingly not that different from women in terms of ability. Obviously there are exceptions to this. This is my biggest disappointment in having sex with men. 2. I'm a bit of a pillow princess and definitely a bottom, which is easier with men who tend to be more comfortable in leading the action/top role. 3. It is easier to have sex all day with women. But sex also generally takes longer with women. 4. Since being with women I'm more into finger banging overall. This is helpful if a guy has difficulty in the boner department. 5. Greater likelihood of having an orgasm at the same time with men. 6. You have to warm up the dildo versus not needing to be concerned about the temp of a dick. Also the banging is more fluid, although this depends on a woman's experience with using a strap-on. 7. You can choose the dick size and shape with women. No erectile issues to deal with. No need to ever stop. 8. Both genders can be selfish though, so no difference there. I've never understood men who don't like going down on a woman because it's one of funnest things ever. And why would you not want to see the reactions of someone because of what you're doing? Everyone's different, but in general, men are about the act, women are about the context. If a guy wants to fuck you, or wants to do something specific within fucking, they just want to do it. A freight train could be bearing down on them and they'd go, well, we've got time before it gets here, best not waste it. What a girl wants to do is very, very much more determined by how she feels about you specifically, how sexy she finds the environment, what else is happening in her life, the fluidity of the communication, and the expectations, or lack thereof, for a relationship. Username checks out. Thank you Wise Samurai. In my experience women tend to care more about how they're perceived than dudes do. They doll up, they get sexy, they shave their legs. Guys don't really do that. Most of the time it's like, oh, I'm gonna get laid. Even when chicks are just DTF, they're not just throwing on sweatpants. Dudes tend to make awkward small talk more often. Probably because our minds focus on the end goal more than the act. Also, fucking hair everywhere, save the planet, shave your asshole. I've found gay men care more about actually being hot, though. Most guys in the gay scene where I'm from are fit. Women are more likely to be what is called fit fat. They look good when you see them out, but they take their clothes off. Not so much. I feel personally attacked. Which way the dick goes in. If it goes in sideways, you may want to rethink your life choices. Quitter talk. Men don't have boobs, and I like boobs, and beards, while beautiful to look at and run my hands through, scratch me. Women can't pin me down as easily as a man can do, and they don't feel as imposing. I like my partner to be, or at least feel, bigger and taller than me, which apparently, as a 166 centimeters woman, I think it's 5 feet 5, is too much to ask. Edit a sentence, because I do like boobs. Greater than men don't have boobs found the non-American. Every woman I've slept with doesn't stop until I'm finished. Can't say that for every man, lol. In my limited experience I've found that sex with other women is kind of easier. I've just had more practice with vaginas, I know what feels good for me and, so far, it translates easily to what feels good for other women. Sex with men isn't any less pleasurable, it just takes longer for me to figure out what feels good for them, especially since men tend to be less vocal in bed, which is a huge bummer. Please don't be afraid to make noise to let your partner know they're doing something right. Spending time figuring out what a new partner likes can be fun too, but with other women I always feel like I've got a head start, wink wink. Guy here, I've never felt the need to make any noise. It's not like I'm holding it back. Do women choose to moan, or is it actually pleasurable enough to force them? For me at least, it's both. I like to be vocal, and I'm definitely incentivized to be vocal when they're hitting it right. In my experiences, the guys are a lot more slutty, and more open to other things. Also way less likely to get attached/clingy and understand just having a good time. Female here. My last female FWB got attached and clingy. I ended up having to cut ties because it wasn't fair to her. I think the only emotionally serious relationship I've had has been with my now husband. I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing physical affection from emotional affection. For me it's a lot like getting dinner. Sometimes I want a nice intimate night out with a diverse menu and great service, being with a woman, and sometimes I'm drunk, it's 3 AM, and I just need to find a place that's still open, being with a guy. As a guy whose asshole is always open, I feel personally attacked. I find sucking dick to be more fun than eating pussy. I prefer the opposite. Sucking pussy and eating dick. I'm a man, and I like both. Being with a woman is fun and passionate and smooth. Being with a guy is hot and wild, and a lot more intense. Just my opinion. Top or bottom in MM? I would consider myself a bottom. Most of the men I have been with have been more aggressive, which I like, and naturally I respond to a more submissive nature. I find it very fun to not be in control and see what happens. When most of the men I've been with have been much stronger than I like to be in control as much as I like to be out of control. I love being with men either way, other than the obvious. I would say that in sex women are gentle even when they are rough, and men are rough even when they are gentle. That's not exactly right. But it's true though. And I don't just mean the act of penetration, receiving versus giving. The only thing that doesn't line up with this is receiving oral sex from a man as man, which is amazingly gentle and good, or can be. But giving oral sex, way more physical than going down on a woman. Even kissing is somehow more physical, less gentle. A lot of the other answers are also true. Yeah, I felt the same, in my very limited experience, due to women having a certain softness even if they're being rough or dominating, while men even at their most gentle still feel hard or rough in certain ways. I make love with women, and guys use me as a toy. I'm a man, FYI. This is something I ask about before the first date. I only like men for their dicks. Equals blocked. For me, the biggest difference in the power exchange. With women, I'm way more toppish, and with men, way more bottomish. The sex itself is different, but mostly just due to the parts. Opposite for me. I'm more dom in general, but I only enjoy being submissive with women. I will for sure dom a guy though. I came here to say this. I'm into people of any gender, and the experience is different with every person. But there's a definite tendency for me to be into guys I can dom, and women who can top me. I know this isn't the case for everyone, but going down on people with vaginas is way better than going down on people with dicks. People with dicks, I love ya, but semen tastes nasty AF. Yes, even if you eat well. Gag /. All joking aside, if you learn to deep throat, it goes past your taste buds and you taste nothing. And DT isn't a magic trick, it's a learnable skill. I learned it, and that fact in itself means it's not all that hard. You're a great person. I've had sex with a lot of people, so I think I have a larger than average sample size. That being said, I have found a few general differences. 1. Men tend to be rougher and do not take direction as well. If I tell a man to be softer, he'll usually default to whatever is his factory setting, but a female will actually make a change. 2. Women never pressure for orgasms. I don't know how many men say "come for me baby, come on," as if that's supposedly to magically make it happen. 3. For men, orgasms seem to be more of a self-congratulatory thing rather than actually giving pleasure. Men feel good making their partner come, but they don't really care if she actually came or just faked it. 4. Which leads to my last point. I would say most men get impatient with oral sex. I would say on average, a man can last only about 2 to 3 minutes before he gets bored and gives up or pressures you to orgasm. Fake it. I know it usually takes me 10 plus minutes depending. Women usually build it up so their tongue doesn't get tired instead of frantically licking from the get-go. This is not to speak badly of men as a whole. I have had plenty of fun sexual experiences with both genders. This is just something I have noticed. Titty fucking is better with females. Most American men have at least B-cups. They are truly the sexiest men out there. For me, sex with men is only about sex. Sex with women is about love and sex. Came here to say this. I've found sex with women far more intimate than with men. Especially from a hookup perspective. A male can get into all my holes with his genitalia. A female cannot. Not with that attitude. I fuck girls and guys fuck me. Pretty much it TBH. It really sounds like your dance card is full. He might be hooking up with relatively few guys. In my experience, a significant majority of bi and gay men are bottoms. As a bi dude, I find women to be consistently more available and fun since I am not into topping guys. You guys are having sex? No serious tag. Everyone's making it up.